If you're looking for a portable gaming experience, the Alldocube iPlay 70 Mini Ultra might have caught your eye. This bite-sized tablet is advertised as a serious contender for mobile gamers, and in this review we're going to push it to its limits to see if that holds true. We'll also cover all the essentials, including its vibrant 8.8-inch display, audio experience from its speakers, how it handles gaming, and much more. Let's see tech for what it is and jump into the review. We'll start off by having a quick look to see what we get in the box. First thing is the tablet itself, wrapped in this plastic sleeve, and it looks like we've got a pre-applied screen protector. Nice. Put that to the side for now. We get a quick start guide in various languages, a 2-pin 20-watt charging brick with a USB-C out, an SD card tray ejecting pin, and finally a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. I'll peel that off there and let's jump into the design and build of this thing. Up front, we have the 8.8-inch IPS LCD display. Up top, if you're looking at a landscape, we have the red power/lock button along with the volume buttons. To the right, we have the 3.1 USB-C port, so we have display output, which we'll have a look at later, and then we have one of the two speakers next to the port. Around the bottom is the SD card tray and a microphone. SD card tray is good for up to 1 terabyte cards, and then to the right is the other speaker. Around the front, in portrait mode, is the 5-megapixel front-facing camera, and then turning to the back, we can see the space gray colorway and all metal unibody build. We have a shiny Alldocube logo in the middle. I like the way it kind of fits in one hand. Feels nice and premium with that metal, and you got easy gripability here. And we have some Alldocube text along with powered by DTS, and I think that's a serial number at the bottom. We have the 13-megapixel rear camera along with an LED flash, and I have noticed that the buttons here are a little bit wobbly. Weight wise, this thing is quite light, coming in at 335 grams, so long sessions holding it won't be a problem. Thickness here is a reasonable 7.9 millimeters. Because of the protruding camera module, when laying it flat you will get quite a bit of rocking, just something to be aware of. We do have a vibration motor here, not much in the way of actually adjusting the strength of it, but it's okay. It's not the most tightest or high quality vibration motor, but it's still decent. Other mentionable specs of the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra are Wi-Fi 6 support, Bluetooth 5.4, multiple sensors including G sensor and gyroscope, an advanced cooling system with a vapor chamber, graphene sheets, and with a total cooling area of 24,570 millimeters squared. There's no official IP rating, so best to keep this thing away from dust and water. So let's jump into the display. So moving on to the display, we have an 8.8-inch 2.5K LTPS IPS panel. PPI comes in at 343, so nice and sharp. Up to 144Hz refresh rate, DCI-P3 wide color gamut, in-cell full lamination, thicker bezels on the shorter sides of the device, so that does give it a bit more room for your hands to rest there. Peak brightness comes in at 500 nits. Other display settings include adaptive brightness. You have various options for the lock screen, like adding text, wake screen for notifications, etc. We have our usual dark theme, which you can schedule as you please. Display text and size, so you can personalize text size and display size. A night light which tints the screen amber, and you can schedule and adjust the intensity. For colors, things are pretty simple here with just natural or boosted. I'm going to leave that on boosted. Color temperature with default, warm or cool. You can enable a screensaver when charging and pick from different options, and various toggles for things like lift to wake, smart wake, and double tap to turn off screen. For refresh rate, we don't have a dynamic setting, rather 4 options from 60, 90, 120 or 144Hz, but damn, 144Hz is really nice and smooth. You can use a third-party universal stylus, though it's not going to be the best for actually doing any drawing or note taking. It's a good little tool for navigating the tablet. Now, there is no palm rejection when I use the stylus like this. When it comes to streaming content, YouTube maxes out at 4K 60 FPS, no HDR support here unfortunately, and at 4K content plays with no problem at all, nice and smooth, and I have to say I'm really enjoying the display on here. The higher PPI helps with making it nice and sharp, and it has nice and punchy colors, just visually really nice to look at, and the color reproduction is also very good here. On Netflix we get level 1 wide 1 support and full HD playback, and as I mentioned, no HDR Dolby Vision supported here, but regardless, streaming or playing content on here is going to be a joy. As I said, content looks nice and crisp, and you'll enjoy consuming your favorite shows and movies. Viewing angles are not bad at all here. There is maybe a slight dip in brightness at more extreme angles and minimal temperature shift, so quite good on that front. Outdoors in stronger lighting, and we're in the middle of a heat wave here in the UK, the display does suffer a little bit. It's still legible but looks washed out, and in direct sunlight you're not going to see much. You do have DisplayPort output, so you can connect the tablet via the USB-C port to HDMI and mirror the tablet's display. Works no problem at all, nice and responsive, so always good to have that option available. When it comes to speakers, we have two on the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra, and those are DTS sound tuned and have a smart PA amplifier. There isn't much in the way of adjusting the sound in the settings of the tablet itself, rather that is done in the DTS sound app itself, and you can adjust stereo sound here with traditional in front or wide. There's an equalizer which you can adjust as you please, and then presets from music, movies and games. We'll have a listen, and a little warning, the upcoming volume will be quite loud.
was a tough adventure, but it paid off. Our school is vampire free.
Man, who would have suspected?
From writing, dynamic wallpapers, gallery editor and more. AI writing will do what most writing AI models do, and to use it you have to log into it enough. Takes about a second. In summary, the speakers on here I would say are okay. Nothing amazing, but not entirely bad either. I did notice some distortion at higher frequencies and volume. Bass response is there a little bit and they can get quite loud overall, but I have heard louder on quad speaker setups. So overall, maybe a little flat sound, but good enough to enjoy your media and gaming on here. Moving on to performance, here we're working with the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 CPU along with Adreno's 732 GPU. RAM comes in at 12GB LPDDR5X and 256GB UFS 3.1 storage. So pretty beefed up specs here. Tablet is running on Android 14 with Alldocube OS 3.0 L skin on top, which is pretty much stock Android, and no word on any OS updates or security patches. You have up to 8GB RAM expansion if you want to make use of that. Quick look at benchmarks, and on a 2.2 is scored a respectable 1,321,000, so not topping any charts but still a good score with plenty of computing power. On 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme Stress Test we get a best loop score of 2,976 and a stability of 85.1%, so not the best stability but reasonable. Stress test graph, we can see it starts off at 2,976 and then gradually decreases over the 20 minutes of the test. In performance range there's some fluctuation throughout and then it kind of trails off slightly towards the end, and then monitoring shows us the battery dropped from 92 to 81%. It did get quite hot, going from 28 degrees to 50, and a frame rate from 11 to 21 FPS, so respectable FPS there, and this is a very demanding and intensive benchmark. We'll see how that all translates when it actually comes to gaming. On Geekbench 6 it scores 1856 on single core and 4701 on multi-core, so again decent scores, not the highest but good enough with enough power to get more intensive tasks done. In the settings we have performance mode toggle, which enhances performance along with notification and gesture blocking options. I did notice a bug when it comes to adjusting the wallpaper with this blank screen and the app was crashing. Plenty of options for accessibility from link to Windows, voice access, talkback, captions and much more. For security and privacy you can check in on any available system updates. Device unlock, we only have screen lock, unfortunately no fingerprint or face unlock here, and then in system you will find language, keyboard options and different gestures the tablet supports. Using the tablet we have plenty of power, like I said here, with the SD7 Plus Gen 3 being quite a powerful chipset. Upload times are really fast as I pop into different apps here, so for your daily tasks and casual use you'll find the tablet nice and snappy and responsive, and that 144Hz refresh rate really makes things feel more fluid and smooth too. Quick RAM management check, I'll open up and play a little Wuthering Waves here, and when going back to the previous opened apps we can see that they're all still running in the background, so RAM management quite good. Split screen works with no problem with two apps running side by side, no hiccups. However, there is no floating window or pop-up window options here, and you also have Google Gemini accessible by holding the power button for a few seconds, and works absolutely fine with utility commands and anything else you would use Google Gemini for. When it comes to external storage, all works as intended. Playing back 4K video files has a second or two lag when scrubbing through. I'll transfer this 1.74GB file over to the device's storage, and that took around 26 seconds, so not blazing fast but still a reasonable transfer time for a file that size. And as I usually do with that same file, which is a 4K project of mine, roughly around 5 minutes in length, and loaded into CapCut, you can see scrubbing is fine for the most part. Maybe a little laggy here and there. I'll add some text and I will export at 4K 30 FPS recommended bitrate, and that export took a total of 3 minutes and 12 seconds. I was expecting it to be a bit quicker than that, but gives you an idea of export times if you were to be exporting 4K content on this tablet. Let's get into the main point of the iPlay 17 mini Ultra, and that's gaming. Starting off, I'll connect my controller. I'll turn the brightness down a little to around 90%. And starting off, we have 83% battery and a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. We'll turn on gaming mode to kind of really push things here. First game, even though it's not available anymore, will be COD Warzone, and we have medium as the highest visual quality. I'll set FPS to uncapped and set everything else to the highest available as well. And jumping into a multiplayer match, first, graphics look okay. Obviously not as good as peak, but still nice. And gameplay is nice and smooth. Unfortunately, I don't have an FPS monitor here, and I didn't want to faff around with perf dog and things like that because I like to test the battery drain. But if I had to hazard a guess, I would say we were hitting 60 FPS at least here. 13 minutes in, and now in a Warzone game, still running nice and smooth. I haven't noticed any lag or stutter, but the device temperature is creeping up and currently sitting at 49 degrees. After roughly 20 minutes of Warzone, battery has dropped down to 71% and temperature is at 53 degrees, and the tablet does feel quite hot to the touch. Next is Roblox, and I've got the graphic quality maxed out, and again, game looks really good visually, running nice and smooth, no hiccups or lagging anyway that I noticed. And FPS I'd say is at least 50 plus here. Moving on to the next game, COD Mobile. Here we have very high graphic quality along with ultra FPS, but we'll start off with very high and max FPS setting, and I've turned on everything else too, including super resolution. We'll start off with a multiplayer game, and if you've downloaded all the HD packs and everything, the graphics here are superb. They look really good, and again, the game is running nice and smooth. FPS seems consistent with no drops that I could discern, and I'd say it's hitting that 60 FPS cap, no problem. We'll switch to ultra frame rate, which defaults the graphics to medium, and now there's definitely an increase in the frame rate with the game running that bit smoother and more fluid. We'll jump into battle royale mode, and I've got frame rate set to ultra with everything else turned on too. And again, gameplay running nice and smooth, though not as smooth as the multiplayer match, as I believe there might be a 90 FPS cap, but still nice and smooth here with decent graphic quality. After 45 minutes, we're down to 61% battery now, and temperature is at 47 degrees. Next is GTA San Andreas, resolution set to the highest and everything else turned on, and here there's a 30 FPS cap, and I'm sure it's hitting that no problem. Game looks visually really good with nice and smooth gameplay, and even traveling at high speed it's rendering no problem with no lag or stutter anyway. For Wuthering Waves, I've set everything to the max and set the frame rate to 60 FPS also, and with those settings the graphics here look amazing, and even with a lot going on with the gameplay here, there's no lagging or stutter. FPS wise, I'd say we're in the 50s at least with nice and smooth gameplay. An hour in, and this notification popped up with a battery temperature warning as it's hitting 55 degrees, so it's getting really hot. Not surprising, as we've been really pushing it here with the intense gameplay. Next, we'll check out War Thunder Mobile, and I've set everything to the highest possible with a 120 frame rate target. This is one of the games with an FPS monitor built in, and we can see it's managing to hit the high 90s, but it's fluctuating a little, but gameplay is still nice and smooth and visually looks really good too. And for the last game, we'll check out Fallout 84, and we have extreme graphic quality here along with very high frame rate, and I've maxed out everything else too. And similar story here as with all the other games, the graphics are really good and gameplay is nice and smooth once again. 7 Plus Gen 3 is a very capable chipset and does provide consistent gameplay across the board. And then after a total of 1 hour and 23 minutes of back-to-back heavy gameplay, we finish off with battery on 39%, so we lost 44% battery life in that session, and a final temperature reading of 46 degrees. So in conclusion, yes, you will have battery drain, but that's expected as we had gaming mode on and the tablet was getting quite hot in certain games as well, so literally pushing it to its limits. I didn't notice any throttling at any point, and overall it's been a good experience with those games. Of course the temperature is a concern, but that's to be expected when you push things with high graphics and frame rate. Overall, a really enjoyable gaming experience on this tablet. When it comes to optics, the iPlay 17 mini Ultra has a 5 megapixel front facing camera and a 13 megapixel rear facing camera, and in camera modes we have video, photo and pro mode, so quite simple here. Quick look at the settings, and for general you have face detection, storage options and image format with JPEG and HEIC. For video, and that's the rear camera, we have up to 4K UHD resolution but no FPS options, noise reduction options, video encoder with H.264 or 265, audio encoder and also time lapse. You can digitally zoom up to 8x. In photo you can pick from various filters and again digitally zoom up to 8x. In Pro mode, you have all your final controls with things like ISO control, white balance, f-stop and exposure value. And the front-facing camera has fixed focus and video quality up to 1080p. Quality here will be okay for basic video calls and such, but we'll have a quick look at some captures. The cameras here are very basic, so don't expect much from them at all. Do a quick camera test. Apologies, it's not the best scenery. Do a little zoom. Oh, that's 3x. Struggling to focus. Oh, 8x. Front facing camera. No, you can't see much, but it gives you some idea, I guess. When it comes to battery, the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra is working with a 7300 mAh battery that supports 20 watt charging and also supports reverse wired charging too. In the battery settings itself, it's about as basic as it gets here. We have a battery remaining percentage and meter. In battery usage, you have your battery level graph showing your usage since last full charge, and you can dial into individual days, which will show you your screen on time along with usage by apps or by system. And in my battery life video streaming test with the brightness set to 80% and the volume at around 35% and streaming on platforms like Netflix and YouTube, the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra managed 9 hours and 15 minutes. Battery saver when turned on will switch to dark theme, and you can set a schedule and turn off at 80%. Overall battery life on here was average. With light medium use you can squeeze out a day, but if you start pushing things with heavy gameplay or productivity then it will drain quite fast, so just be wary of that. So where does the Alldocube iPlay 70 Mini Ultra stand? This compact powerhouse has certainly made a mark in the crowded tablet market, especially for its price point. Alldocube has done a really good job with the design. The metal unibody feels premium and makes it incredibly compact and comfortable in the hand. The 8.8-inch display is a real highlight, offering vibrant colors and impressive sharpness that make audio content truly pop. Many reviewers, myself included, have been thoroughly impressed. Under the hood, the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 delivers really good performance, handling most everyday tasks with ease and chewing through graphic intense games very well, offering a truly enjoyable gaming experience that punches above its weight. However, when it comes to audio, the speakers are undeniably average. While perfectly serviceable for general content and gaming, you'll notice distortion at higher volumes and frequencies, and the bass response is minimal. Performance in games is strong, but the tablet does get quite hot under heavy loads, peaking in our testing at 55 degrees Celsius, so that's an expected trade-off for pushing demanding graphics and frame rates, but it's something to be aware of during extended high-intensity gaming sessions. Battery-wise, the 7300 mAh unit is okay for light to medium use, easily getting you through a day, but with heavy use and gaming mode activated, it does drain quite fast. This is typical for high performance devices, so keep a charger handy. And lastly, the cameras here, unfortunately, an afterthought, basically very basic and won't be suitable for anything else beyond casual snaps in really good lighting conditions. And another concern is the history of software updates, so don't expect regular OS upgrades or long-term security patches. So in conclusion, the Alldocube iPlay 70 Mini Ultra carves out a niche as an excellent compact tablet for media consumption and, more impressively, for serious mobile gaming, even given its competitive price. It delivers a fantastic visual experience and powerful performance, making it a compelling option if you're looking for a portable entertainment and gaming powerhouse that won't break the bank, offering a really enjoyable experience overall despite its compromises. Thank you for watching everyone, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.